All right, we are live, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Lake County. I'm your host, David Rich. I have a special and recurring guest on many of my shows, Kristal Larson, Avon Township Clerk. Kristal, how are you?
I'm doing well, David. Good to be back with you again. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
it's fun. I always love talking to you. It's great. Okay, so let's get to it. What's going on with Avon Township?
You know what? We're doing a lot of really good work over there. We've
Mhm.
got our lending closets, we've got our medical closets, we've got our Christmas program is just getting started this week. And
Mhm.
we've introduced some welding classes are being held over at the township by a
Oh,
remote
cool.
group, which is it's really pretty amazing and impressive to see what they were able to bring out to us. So, really trying to find all kinds of different ways to help out the community and be there to serve. Um,
That's very
you know,
cool. So is it a certification in welding or just to kind of teach you how to weld?
Um, I'm not clear on that. I know there
Okay.
are that it's a class, and I believe there's a couple of months involved. I don't know if you walk out with a
Oh.
certification or not,
Mhm.
but certainly a good pathway to getting there at the very least.
100%. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Welding's important. I mean, it's nice to know. It's important, I think, that we recognize the importance of blue collar work in this country. Like I remember during the 80s, like it was all about being white collar and just making as much money as you could. I'm like, okay, if you somebody needs to build the office buildings for white collar workers to work in, okay. So it's just really important that we get back to like electricians and plumbing and welding and stuff like that. Very, very important stuff. So good for you. That's great.
Yeah, and I was just downstate in Springfield earlier this week talking with some other township officials, and
So
to
neat.
see the impact that losing those blue collar jobs in areas can have,
It's awful.
it can be devastating to a community.
Oh,
So I'm glad we're able to
literally.
do that here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. I would love to hear more about that as it goes on. So, okay, cool. And what was you said something I wanted to add. What's the medical closet? What does that mean? Or
So if
medical thing?
people need like wheelchairs,
Oh,
crutches, mobility assists, other pieces of equipment we may have as they're discharged from, the hospital or immediate or urgent cares, we have the ability to lend those products out to our residents in Avon Township. There's no cost to that program. All you need is an ID to be able to prove your residency.
mhm.
And you need a wheelchair, you can have that for up to 6 months, no questions asked.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's an
In addition,
amazing advantage you're providing for your residents. That is great. I wonder, do you know if anybody else has that around here? Because I've never heard of that. I love it.
I believe Warren Township does something similar, but I also know that in addition to that, if you come in with there's basically a doctor's form that they fill out for someone who might need a temporary disability placard. We can offer those directly as well.
That's amazing. I'm gonna have to ask the I'm in Fremont Township. I'm gonna have to ask them if they have something like that because that's very cool. And I just love how like it testifies to like the importance of like local and locality and your local community and how they are actually involved in taking care of your day-to-day stuff more so than say in the more generalized systems, if you will, community systems. Like the federal government's not going to give you a wheelchair, so that kind of thing. I mean, maybe I guess through all sorts of hemming and hawing and bureaucracy, you can get one, but that's fabulous. I love that. That's great. Okay. Would you like to talk about the center that you're promoting?
Well, let's finish up with the
Oh,
township.
okay.
We just got done hosting early voting again.
Oh, yeah.
We've been doing that since early voting was introduced in the early 2000s.
Hmm.
But this was by far the highest demanded and most turned out race that we have seen in the history of early voting, not just at Avon Township, but countywide. At Avon Township, we served a little over 3,000 people in the final 3 days of early voting. Uh,
Wow.
it was incredible. We've never had turnout like that before. So, I don't get to say this too often, but a huge thank you to our county clerk and all the election judges who were there from, in some cases, 6 o'clock in the morning till almost midnight one night, making sure everybody had their chance to vote and have their voices heard. That was just a beautiful thing to be part of.
That's very cool because I did early voting and I'm over here in Fremont Township. And when I went in, it's the first time that I remember this happening. It was like a Monday morning or something like that. And there was a line. I've never seen that before. And then I hear about all these lines all over the country and stuff like that. Like it was, yeah, people were chomping at the bit well before election day. And I thought it was a testament. It was testifying to something other than what it actually testified to. But okay. Yeah, but that's great. That's great. Early voting is awesome. I remember before early voting what a drag it was. We had to
So
go
do
on-
I. I remember counting some of those ballots as a judge, and we'd be in the dungeon till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning over at the courthouse.
Right. Okay, very cool. Anything else going on in Avon Township?
You know what? We're gearing up for the local, consolidated election next year. Petition season is upon us, so
Mhm.
looking forward to seeing how those particular races sort of play out locally, and glad to be a part of those as well.
Are you running next year? No, you still got another
I
year.
am not. I'm taking a step back. I've found that
Oh.
my other role with the LGBTQ Center, which we'll talk about in a few moments.
Yeah.
I'm having so much more of an impact on our community that way that I feel like that's a better place for me to be able to continue to serve the public and be able to reach as many people as possible throughout the county.
Oh, that's great. And well, let me know how I can help you with that because I fully support what you're doing. And I think of you as like a local icon in the amongst that community, a leader of sorts, a go-to. And I think you're, as far as I can tell, doing a fabulous job. That's great.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, did you want to talk about the center?
I mean, of course. Why would I not come on the show and not talk about the center, right?
Right.
So it's been an interesting couple of weeks, especially this past week. It's been really tense. Where the things you're hearing about, perhaps at a national level, with increases to support hotlines, suicide prevention hotlines, things like that, from within the LGBTQ community. We're seeing that impact here in Lake County too.
Wow.
This has been really stressful. We've got folks who are asking how can they expedite their name changes? How can they expedite their documentation? Can we help them with powers of attorney? Can we help them with their wills, living wills, especially like adoptive queer parents where they don't know if civil unions are going to be respected in other states in another year, right? Trying to make sure that they preserve those rights if they're traveling abroad. And there's just been a lot of fear in the area. So we've been busy. I'm glad I can take these few moments to actually talk with you and share what that looks like here, that the impact is very real to all of our local community members. For sure.
No, it's one of the targeted communities by this new administration. There's no, they've made that quite clear.
They were in the last 2 weeks of the campaigns, anti-transgender political advertising was the leading spend by all political ads across the country.
I didn't know that, but okay.
Yeah, it was no longer like hey, you're a little footnote and we'll worry about you, like the lavender scare back in the 50s. Now it's like you are the target. Right. So people are genuinely anxious and fearful, and we're doing everything we can here to try and reassure folks. Here in Lake County, we're going to be in a good place, right? We have a governor who's leading the way here in the state of Illinois. He's been the role model that other governors are looking to lead in this particular circumstance. We know that we have some of the greatest and most protective laws in the country here in Illinois. Yeah. And locally, we know that our county-wides, our county board members, the folks who do have an impact on our everyday lives, those folks are right behind us as well.
Right. Yeah. No. That's good to hear. Pittsburgh made it quite clear to the incoming administration that, if you want to come after my people, you're going to have to go through me. And there are states and there are even countries I heard that are Trump proofing themselves, as they say. They're ready for a fight, and that's as unfortunate it is. It's good to know that our governor has our back, and is willing to protect us.
And I think this time it's a little bit more advantageous for us. In 2016, we had no idea what was coming. Right. Stuff just came out of left field, right field, center field, behind the plate. We didn't know. Right. And today, there's a playbook, and we've been able to study that playbook and prepare for it for months leading up to this.
Oh, that's good.
So, it's good to see, especially the leaders nationally, like the ACLU, like HRC, Lambda Legal, some of the other, really big groups that are involved in trying to protect the rights of, historically marginalized folks. Yeah. They've had plenty of time to come up with all the contingency plans. And so we're able to rely on some of that here, be able to learn from them and the work that they've invested and be able to apply that at a local level.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. Yeah, no, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, he scares me more than Trump does. But them working in cahoots is like a double whammy. No, he said when he first got elected to be Speaker of the House that that America is a Judeo-Christian nation, which means that anything outside against Christianity, it does not get rights or protections. I'm like, okay, dude, come on. That's just stupid. First of all, it's not a Judeo-Christian nation. Our founding fathers made that quite clear too. And secondly, even if it was, that's just dumb. So anyway, so it's good to hear that the protections are in place and that everybody's preparing and ready to help and secure our rights as individuals. Because I think that's what it's all about. So okay, well, very cool. Anything? Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be preparing for what everybody needs. We're starting to offer more support groups. We're starting to offer more activities and outings. So it's good to see that we as a community in the county are starting to solidify as well as we talk to all the different corners. So, it's a good thing to see community coming together, rallying to each other's sides. And we recognize there's peoples in all different communities that, we're talking to them too. Like, we want to make sure that, we have all these intersectionalities, right? Yeah. You can be queer and you can be Black, you can be, and be married to someone who's Latinx, and go through all these different intersectionalities that we need to be aware of, that, hey, our friends, their spouses might be deported if they're first generation Americans, looking at what's going on. Right. So it's good that we're able to connect with other groups and other agencies that are taking these actions as well. It's going to take all of us pulling together to navigate through this brave new couple of next years.
Yeah, exactly. Intersectionality is really an important concept to understand sufficiently well. And I don't think a lot of people are very monofocal when it comes to their decision making, and they don't realize like the interconnectedness, if you will, of so many different variables and conditions and determining factors. You can, some Christians would freak out for me saying this, but like you can be gay and a Christian, 100% you can. Okay, some Christians would say you can't, but they'd be wrong. And so like when you attack, the gay community, the LGBTQ plus community, you are in part attacking the Christian community, which they claim that they're good Christians trying to protect Christians and merely properly only Christians. It just doesn't work out that way. It's not possible. So that's a very interesting and again important thing to know. Intersectionality.
Yeah, and in fact, we do a lot of work with the churches in Lake County, the ones that want to be affirming. We have a lot of support from folks in different churches, specifically like Joy Lutheran Church in Gurnee. They supported us and provided us with space for a couple of years before we were able to open our own center.
That's fabulous.
Or St. Paul's out in Waukegan, again, a really great partner with our community. And just St. Paul's is a great partner in Waukegan and throughout the county. But we do that work, and when people come to us from their churches and say, we want to learn, we want to know how to be better, we're happy to help guide their hands too. It's
wow.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with being Christian and queer, with being Jewish and queer, with being Islamic and queer. We don't care what faith you come from, as long as you're coming from that place of love and you want to be in fellowship with us.
Right. If you're coming from a place of hatred and judgment, I probably won't bother with you. But I mean, if you're coming from a place of love, which you can find extensively in the Bible and Quran and other religious texts, you find extensively the notions of compassion and empathy and love and forgiveness and mercy and all these wonderful virtues and values. But yeah, I mean, oftentimes people just I always thought of like a religious conversion as like you end up like just sort of like amplifying what you're bringing into it. So like if you convert to Christianity, say, if you were kind of a jerk in the first place, you're probably going to like focus on that part of the Bible. If you're filled with love and, you're probably going to focus on that part of the Bible, stuff like that. I mean, that's just a very vague notion. I don't have like numbers or anything. But that's what I've definitely seen across several moments in my life. But no, that's fantastic. That's fabulous. And so where's the brick and mortar part of the center? Where's the actual center?
So we're right near downtown Grays Lake at the intersection of Center and Lake Street.
That's not far from me.
That's not far from you at all. And it's, it's great. It's accessible by bus. It's accessible by train.
Oh, wow.
we're right down the street from Grays Lake Central and not that far from the library complex, just the other side of downtown. So, the kids from the area can walk over. When the youth need a place to drop in and just be able to work with us, sometimes they need support too. And with kids, there's a study I was reading recently that 51% of kids aren't out to their classmates or their families, but they are willing to say that they're out. And so, having a place like this is a place where they can come for support without having to rely on family who might not be so supportive of them.
Right. Well, that's great. It's it's a sanctuary. I mean, it's a safe place. That's awesome. Isn't there something coming up concerning the center, but it's actually held in Waukegan? Do I have that right?
We've got 2 events coming up. Well, 3 events coming up in the next week. It's going to be busy right leading up into that Thanksgiving holiday. Next week we've got November 20th is Transgender Day of Remembrance, which is a time for us to really reflect on the people we've lost to violence over the last year in the transgender community. It's more than 40 people lost to violence in the United States alone. All victims of, targeted attacks. There's even more when we start considering the people who took their own lives, succeeded in suicide. And when we look at those folks, that number nearly doubles.
Wow.
And in many cases, committing suicide, succeeding in taking their lives because of discrimination and just feeling hopeless. So in a way, those can be attributed to violent crimes as well.
Right.
Across the entire world, almost 400 names were compiled this year. And we know that that's vastly underreported, both in the United States and abroad. So it's an opportunity for us to come together, to see what's happened, to share in the resiliency that we are, and be able to show, what, we need to stay strong because we don't want that to happen to anybody else.
Right.
So we're happy to join with a couple of area churches on that presentation as well, along with our Lake County Health Department, College of Lake County, over at hosted in the Willow Cafe there at the Grays Lake campus. Anybody is welcome to join us for that event. Okay,
that's great. Yeah, I will. I'll try to keep updated on that. And I think I wanted to make it to the one that I saw about in Waukegan. I believe it's next week. Or was it yesterday? Was it yesterday? No, it's next week. I think I might have the Wednesday.
Thursday, I believe. It's the following day. We're partnering with Planned Parenthood at an as of yet undisclosed location. We're requiring registration for that. That's at lgbtqlc.com/ppil.
Okay, I don't have my keyboard here. I apologize. I'm using my tablet.
But that's an event where we're going to be talking about the effects of gender-affirming hormone therapy. Because
right. That was it. Yeah.
Right. Again, we're trying to be sensitive to people who are coming in there. We have parents and potentially some kids that are 16 to 18, that's the threshold where Planned Parenthood and many physicians will actually start gender-affirming hormone therapy. But even adults. I mean, when I first came out 4 years ago, I didn't know what I was talking about or what that looked like. If this type of event was available for me back then, could have saved me 9 months to a year of trying to figure it out on my own. So, it's events like this that we like to promote and make sure people know what this is really about and understand their options fully.
That's fantastic, because there's a lot of contrary information and data coming out about the hormone therapy things. And so again, it's like I was describing, like people becoming religious. It's like you kind of just cherry pick what you want for your own agenda, and then you lambast your opponents. So to have like an objectively responsible data set that people can understand is very, very important. And I love that you're doing that. So like next Thursdays, I have a radio show 6 to 7. That was the scheduling conflict. I would love to attend this, and I might just skip my radio show for that night and go to your event anyway, because it's public radio. They don't pay me. So, and I just wanted to promote more events like that for this show. Let's Talk Lake County and stuff like that. I mean, that's what the show is supposed to be for, is for me to get out there and cover these, countywide events that are very important to the community. So I'll see what happens. If you see me there, great. If not, it means I did my show. So
Love that. And then, one last thing to touch on
yeah,
is, that following Monday, we're kicking off our Giving Tuesday with a Found Family Thanksgiving. So as I'm sure you've heard and other people have witnessed in the past, when people come out, when queer people do come out of the closet, oftentimes they lose family members. They lose a community that they used to depend on. So we're hosting this open Thanksgiving at CityWorks in Vernon Hills. And
wow,
it's an opportunity throughout the day. It's a 20% give back through CityWorks. 20% of anything that's spent will come back to the LGBTQ Center to help support the work that we're doing. But we'll be there starting at 5 o'clock. We know we've got 30 or 40 people who are already signed up to be there. And it's an open thing. So please come in. And if you can't come in and just want to pick up your food, mention that it's, for the center. And 20% of that, even your takeout, will be credited back. So takeout, online orders, dine in, all of it.
oh, that's amazing. All that you're doing. That's a fantastic thing. And I think I can actually at least go there and check it out on Monday. What was I going to say? Is there a website or somewhere where people can find a list of these events?
Yeah, so I'd really encourage people to go through our Facebook page, because that social media is where most people seem to communicate these days.
Sure.
Which is, oh my gosh, I forgot our Facebook page. You can find it through our website, though, at lgbtqlc.com.
Lake
Or
County?
go ahead
Okay.
and look for us on Facebook. Just do a quick search for LGBTQ plus Center, Lake County.
Okay.
You'll find us there.
You'll find it. Okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah, I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, you'll be able to find us through Instagram as well. We refuse to use that platform formerly known as Twitter for a couple of different reasons.
Like the artist formerly known as Prince. Yeah.
Yeah, I just won't even refer to it as the name it's taken right now. It's too.
Oh, that guy. I don't know about that guy.
I don't know if he can't use his own trans daughter's, new name. Why should I use his company's new name? That's the way I look at it.
Interesting. Okay, that's I hadn't heard that, but yeah, there's he's got that issue going on for him, doesn't he?
He
I don't
does.
know. Yeah, he does. He's a peculiar guy. Like when I first caught his, he got my attention. I thought he was really cool because of all the EVs and environmental stuff and blah blah blah. And then he just turned into this weird dude. And when he started supporting Trump, I'm like, what? Like, we went against everything I thought he was. It really did. Trump's a massive climate change denier. Musk is a big advocate that it's happening. I mean, that's why he wants to go to Mars, is because we're destroying our planet. So I don't know. Like, it just really freaks me out. But yeah, he's a weird guy. Anyway, well, that's all, Kristal. It's so amazing what you do. Seriously, like I said, you're definitely a leader, a go-to leader, an icon in the LGBTQ plus community here in Lake County, if not elsewhere. And thank you again for doing all that you do. And keep it up. And look forward to keeping in touch with you and seeing what else is going on in the future. Cool.
Absolutely. Would love to come back and talk with you more again, maybe a little after the holidays.
That'd be great. Okay. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to Let's Talk Lake County. I'm your host, David Rich. A special thanks to our guest, Kristal Larson, Avon Township Clerk. See you later. Bye-bye. Hold on a second, Kristal.